Oh, good evening, and thank you for joining us on this week's episode. Today we're at the BBC. We've been given privileged access to the inner sanctum, to the complaints department, to see how exactly they deal with letters of complaints from the general public and obviously the licence-paying public. So I'll just go straight in, and this is the complaints department. Hello.
Oh, hello.
You're going to show us about complaints?
Oh, yes. We take complaints very, very seriously here at the BBC, as I'm sure you're well aware. And I was going to talk you through the process of what we do when actually a member of the public, who actually, after all pays our salaries, writes in because they're offended or they're upset about something.
Okay.
So, for instance, here we have a letter from a gentleman who is actually quite concerned, actually is overwhelmingly concerned that his partner has broken 3 world records in the marathon, and he hasn't actually seen any coverage of it on the BBC at all, and he's actually wondering why.
Was this, a ridiculous marathon, like dressed as a chicken or something? Or
no, from what I understand, the woman in question actually was running marathons at the North Pole in Antarctica, where she actually broke the course records. She actually then went on to run 5 marathons in 11 weeks in London Marathon Championship qualifying times. She then ran the highest average altitude race ever held, and then 5 days later, with a very severe injury, went down into Antarctica and endured extremely hostile conditions there to break the course record there. So this is a very serious complaint we're dealing with here.
Well, and it wasn't reported on the BBC?
No, for some reason it must have slipped through the net.
I suppose
but
you get things like that coming in all the time.
Oh, no. Well, I don't know. I don't really read them, to be honest.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, so how do you deal with this complaint?
Well, for instance, you've obviously first thing is to write back to the gentleman and assure him that it's going to be passed on to the relevant department. Now, for instance, this gentleman, it is a gentleman. His name, for instance, that's the first thing. What I like to do is really start the letter off in the right tone. For instance, this gentleman's called Mr. Martin Morgan. What I would do here is select probably an insulting or sort of funny kind of surname that we could replace with Morgan. For instance, usually I like to use something of the genitals, always raises a smile here in the department. So, for instance, here, you could use something like Tool or, but being as his name's Martin, I figure it'd be quite good to write back and immediately insult him by calling him Mr. Martin Member, which actually, is quite funny. It gives us a laugh around the department, and it's probably going to really upset him before he even reads the content of the letter. Then what I like to do is something like here. I've elected to actually just make a very rudimentary and fundamental error, which shows that I'm not reading anything that he's put, that I don't care. That's important. You must get that message across, that you don't care. Which actually, in a case like this, I think would probably make it so he probably wants to commit suicide, or just not bother us again, because really, I haven't got time for this. I've got a hair appointment in half an hour. So 4th of February, and I would, not leave a gap there. So you can see that I'm not really, dashing this off very, very quickly. And then I would like to continue that theme throughout the letter, making rudimentary, grammatical, and, just errors along the way. For instance, salutation-wise, we like to familiarise ourselves, make it look like we're concerned. So I would use his first name, but then I wouldn't put a contact name to come back to me. So basically, whatever I do can't be traced back to me. So basically, I can do whatever I like. And quite frankly, that's what I'm going to do.
And will you pass his concerns on?
Why would you think I would do that? Because this part in the letter that it says I'm going to?
Yes.
Well, I know it says I'm going to, but what do you think I am? Stupid?